What's up, and welcome back to the Football House, presented by House Enterprise, our weekly college football pick'em show. We got Sam Basil, Jake Zimmer, Cole Hughes, Gracie Marks. Welcome to week 2, and myself, Will Tondo, and we are back. Vibes are all right. We didn't do too bad for the picks, but how is the crew feeling today?
Good. Ready to roll. Love the board for week 2. I'll just say it. I love the board. Ready to roll. Very excited to be here. And yeah, love the board.
So I guess Gracie loves the board, which is, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. The board.
I'll say things could have gone. Things could have gone better last week.
We may have some serious Wi-Fi issues with Cole now. Wow.
Oh man.
Oh man is right. Cole's on about a 5-second delay here.
We're losing you, Cole.
Hold on, let me leave and I'll come back.
That's a good
All right.
Yes.
Well, Cole is waiting. It's Basil, Zimmer, Grace. What do we got?
No, I agree. I mean, this is a great board this week. Week 1 is just so rough. You know what I mean? I mean, especially for me, because it's like these spreads are always like 50 points, 43 points, and yeah, we've still got that. I think for the next like 2-3 weeks or so, we're going to be seeing teams are playing FCS schools. They're kind of padding their schedules, but it'll slowly kind of snap its way back to normal. I will say 2 years in a row. I mean, I know this is the first year of us doing the show, but just me betting on college football in general. 2 years in a row, I picked the dogs to win, but lose on the spread, and they foiled me again and again. So I got to stop doing it. Claudio family back home, they always rip on me for doing it, but I guess they always end up right. So I'm retiring from that.
How are we doing? Am I back?
Yeah, yeah. Crystal clear, Cole.
Oh, all right.
You never looked better. Thank goodness.
Difficulties.
I can see your face.
Nice. That's good. It's always good. I was trying to say before I kind of cut out last week, not a terrible week, not a great week. Just happy to have college football back. So
there we go.
I can get around that. I think my pitfalls, man, it is some type of way when you basically have both your locks threatened. Akron failed me miserably. They went to overtime with St. Francis, PA. That's a tough beat. That's a real tough beat. Hell of a backyard brawl. I think that was an excellent contest. Great way to start the year. My God, that was an awesome atmosphere at the AC, they're calling it, Acrisure Stadium. I can't wait. We've got a little to tease things out. Going to go back to the rivalry route a little bit later in the show. Make some picks on another pretty elite rivalry in college football.
We got a good rivalry. We got a good game of the week. We have our locks and we will have our picks. But let's revisit last week before we join into week 2. So everyone was positive except you, Zim. Everyone was positive except you.
Will, look at you. 6-2. That's pretty good.
6-2. Rutgers has my trust forever this season until proven guilty and proven otherwise. But we'll take Rutgers. We'll continue on. But before we head into the week, actually, any frauds that we're laying out on the table? I heard a couple before we started going live. The LSU and Brian Kelly, Louisville fraud. Who else do we have on our fraud scale?
Besides USC, there are a lot of frauds out there in the Pac-12. And I don't think Oregon – I couldn't figure out if Oregon is bad or Georgia is just really good. I think it's like an in-between type thing, but they just looked horrible, Oregon. Utah, I mean, it was a rough – besides USC, it was a rough weekend. I don't know if you guys saw it too. The UCLA game was the lowest attendance of all time at a UCLA game on Saturday. It's pretty hot out here, but there was maybe like 3 people there. It was really bad. So Pac-12 is kind of down bad right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll say Utah definitely a fraud there. I mean, they were ranked, 7th going into that game against Florida, and Florida pulls out the dub. So not impressed by them.
So we got the Pac-12, except USC, which is the official team of
Yep.
Mark's Takes Radio.
Right on.
So
Right on.
we got to keep the fighting. We got to keep the Trojans alive. So I guess we'll kick it over to you, Gracie, first, if you would like to present your picks.
Yeah. So do you want me to just read my whole card?
We'll do all the picks except your locks and the game of the week and the rivalry.
Okay, so I'm on Bama, Texas over 64.5. I'm on Florida -4.5. I'm on Pitt +6.5. I'm on Fresno +1. I'm seeing Pick'em with that as well, but whatever it is, Fresno. I'm on Houston +3, and then I'll leave my rivalry game and game of the week for later. But those are my plays. Only 5 plays right now, but quality over quantity. I'm confident in these, and I don't think I could do like 20 picks, so I like to keep it concise, but I like those. Fresno would probably be, up there with the one I'm probably the most confident with, but yeah, I like these.
I'm loving the Texas Alabama over. And
yeah,
I mean, when we get to the game of the week, no spoilers, but here's my spoiler. I took Alabama -20, even though Texas is a good team. I think majority of the people in this room have Alabama -20, which is kind of crazy for, a matchup like that, but the over has to be there. But could we see a score of 60-20 Alabama if that's the case?
I think Bama's going to put up a 50 burger, probably more, honestly, more. And I think Texas, I do agree. I think Alabama will cover, but I think Texas can put up 27 points around that range, 23, 27 points, and hopefully cash the over. That would be my hope.
All right. Let's swing it over to Mr. Hughes.
Yeah, so I'm going to hop on one of Gracie's picks, actually, and I'm going to also take Houston +3 against Texas Tech. They had a good game last week. They barely squeaked it out over UTSA, and, I just think this is their first, big type of opponent in Texas Tech. It'll be interesting to see how they do, but I like them to cover +3, so that'll be my first pick. I have Florida -4.5. Remind me who they're playing again. Kentucky. So yeah, -4.5. They showed out against Utah last week. I really like Florida this year. I think they could make a run and potentially cause some issues for some of those other SEC teams like Georgia or Alabama. So I'll take Florida as my second pick, and then App State, baby. +19 against A&M. They had an absolute shootout last week with North Carolina. They weren't victorious, unfortunately, but I was rooting for them. I think they're going to go to College Station and surprise some people. I don't know if they'll win, but I think they make it a game with A&M, and I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. So I'll take App State +19. Those are my 3 picks for the week.
App State +19.
Yeah, baby.
I want to love it. I don't know. I want to love it.
I might add it to my card.
Oh, let's go.
I might add it to my card.
Number
I'm feeling
7 A&M though.
I think they're frauds. Jimbo's a fraud.
Yeah.
All right. That's a take I can get around though.
We'll see what happens, but I like their chances. I think they can put up some points, and it might be a shootout again for them, but we'll see.
All right. Let's swing it over to Mr. Basil. Great picks, Cole.
All right. So this week, I got a couple decent picks. My 2 locks. I'm going with you, Cole. I'm going Florida -4.5 for my FBS lock. Really interesting thing that I looked at while I was researching this. So this game is in Gainesville this week as well, and like against Utah, I thought that was going to be a huge difference playing in the swamp, and against Kentucky, I think it'll be an even bigger difference because since 1979, Kentucky has beaten Florida 3 times overall. The last time they beat them in Gainesville was that game in 1979. So, we're going on almost 35, 45 years now of no wins for Kentucky in Florida with this really athletic, really strong Florida team, and I think that's got to be a lock. My FCS lock of the week is, I'm not going to go Fordham again this week, even though I'm still wearing the hat. I'm going to keep wearing it until they drop a game. But this week, I'm going number 5 in the FCS coaches poll, Villanova, just straight up money line. They were a really good team in the FCS playoffs last year. They beat Sacred Heart. They went all the way to the quarterfinals where they lost against San Diego State, which, along with North Dakota State, is like consistently a top 5 team in the FCS. So I think, expect a really strong season from Nova this year. They got a tough game against Army next week, but against, I believe they're playing Lehigh this week. Take them easy win, money line. In terms of my regular picks, a couple tough ones. I'm going to go Baylor plus 3.5. I think that's going to be a pretty easy money pick right there. I'm going to go Pitt plus 6.5 against Tennessee, even though I think that's going to be a little sweaty. I might be, regretting it late in the game, but I think they can pull it off. I think the biggest difference maker for that Pitt pick is going to be the running game. Last week, Tennessee allowed 74 total rushing yards against Ball State. So as long as Rodney Hammond can have a decent performance and Pitt can, keep, running their very successful pass rush unit that we saw last week against West Virginia, I think they'll be all right. And I think I might have already said this, but Notre Dame minus 20. So that's my card this week.
Not about the Marshall Green against the Fighting Irish, huh?
Nah, sorry, man. Sorry, Matthew McConaughey. I can't do it. I can't do it this week. Notre Dame needs a statement win so bad. I don't think that win against that loss against Ohio State was really all that bad, but only putting up 10 points as the then 5th best team in the country is not what you want. And I think, this Notre Dame team's got a lot to prove. So they need to blow out Marshall this week.
What did Notre Dame drop down to?
In the AP poll, they dropped
7
down
or 8, I think.
to
Not that far.
no, because it wasn't a bad loss. They only dropped down to 8.
They
Gotcha.
covered.
Yeah.
But Utah only what is Utah at 7?
No, Utah dropped all the way down to 13.
Utah
and Florida's
dropped
right up there at 12 now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, Basil, I like the Pitt pick for sure. I think they balled out last week in the backyard brawl. Saw a lot of great things from their offense. Their running back, Rodney Hammond, is a beast. Did you guys see that play where he was literally carrying their whole defense? It was unbelievable. Got me going. So if he could do that again this week, watch out, man. Watch out.
Yeah. And it's like that stat that, only allowing 74 rush yards against Ball State last week for Tennessee is it's staggering, but it's also Ball State, no offense, but it's just you're going up against a much better running game.
Right on. All right, we'll swing it over to Zim. What say you with your picks?
All right. Not my best work last week, so I'm on a redemption tour. I think I'm going with the masses this week. I think I had Florida minus 5.5, but everybody else got it 4.5. We'll take that one. I like that a lot better. But yeah, I think Florida, obviously, what we said about them, I'm not going to repeat. They had a great win over Utah. And Kentucky, their opponent, I mean, yes, they did have a good week last week, but it was against Miami, Ohio. Snooze. Not impressed. This is an interesting one, too. Virginia Tech, I'm going to take -3 over Boston College. And I think that because Boston College, I believe, is legit fraudulent. I think that's well established on this show now. But and Virginia Tech's coming off a pretty not great loss against Old Dominion as well. I think Virginia Tech turns it around this week. That's just a bet I'm making off of pure intuition. I think they, in their historical, sort of performance early in the year, right? I think they're in good chance to beat Boston College. Nebraska, I'm going to take a very high spread on them, and I didn't want to do this, but it looks good. Minus 23.5, and it's over Georgia Southern. I think Scott Frost, you saw him, like, all the rumors are circling this year about does he get canned, or when does he get canned for that matter, too. But I think last week showed a lot. He had a dominant win. Nebraska kicked ass last week, so I think he's on a little bit of a redemption tour. Get the wins out, get the taking to the woodsheds out in the beginning of the year. So I think Georgia Southern, obviously they're not great. I'm going to take the big spread on Nebraska this week because I'm betting on Scott Frost. I promise you that will change next week, though, because I'm not touching Nebraska with a 10-foot pole after this week. And then finally, I'm going to take the Liberty Flames, who obviously have had a great couple of seasons. I think 27-11 under Hugh Freeze. They're playing UAB, and they're getting 6.5 points. I'm going to take them to cover that one. UAB is really good. They just killed somebody last week. I forgot who, but have played a lot of good opponents over these past, I'd say about a year or so. And when they beat good teams, they don't really do it by more than a touchdown. So I'm going to take Liberty here to cover that 6.5. Those are the 4 regular picks before we get into everything else.
Very risky with the Nebraska pick, I think. Very risky.
So, what was the Nebraska score last week? I'm going to pull it up. Nebraska score was 38-17 over North Dakota, so that's only 21. I think Scott Frost is putting in a few. He's like, he's like, my best 11 players are going to play offense this week. No regard for seniors or juniors or whatever. My best 11 guys are going out there. So that could either go really, really poorly, or it can be boom potential. So
what about Nebraska the week prior?
Let's not talk about Nebraska the week prior.
It's because they actually faced the real opponent, you know?
Yes.
And North Dakota was like kind of running with them for the first half. It was like 17-17, 24-17, and then they kind of pulled away. Once they did Edwin Diaz trumpets, I saw it, then they started to pull away. You know, it was all the trumpets, and after that they pulled away. But North Dakota was kind of like running with them for a bit. I was like, oh God, here we go again. Trumpets, and then they pulled away. So yeah.
So who do we have to contact at Nebraska to just get them to play Narco by Blaster Jackson like the early in the second quarter? I think we'll just take care of that.
Just get him to show up like he did to the Mets game, you know?
True. That'd be sick. Hey, you're going to go to the Nebraska Georgia Southern football game and play this for us, Demi Trumpets.
He's going to be a hot commodity soon, I guess.
No, he'll be at the Braves game next week, so...
The Mets need him to be there and to hopefully get back into the reins with the NL East.
Yeah.
All right, so I will swing over to my picks. If I can figure out how to there we go. So I have 4 to start off, and the first 3 is going to be a university parlay. It's University of Central Florida -5. University of North Carolina -7.5, and USC -9 against Stanford. So
right on.
I love the 3. I am so out on Louisville after the game against Syracuse, and I think UCF -5 is a generous, easy. They'll cover that, no issues. And same with UNC -7.5 against Georgia State. I think they'll easily win by a touchdown. And again, USC in the top 10 team in my eyes. They should easily steamroll Stanford. My next pick, which I might double down as my lock, but I won't. Actually, no. Maybe. I haven't decided if this is going to be my lock, but CMU and University of South Alabama over 58.5. I mean, we were very, very surprised with Central Michigan last week against Oklahoma State. I think myself, Cole, and I don't know if someone else had that spread, but Oklahoma State, if they're ever -20 again, I ain't taking it. So I was very impressed by Central Michigan coming back to that over 58.5. I think they will cruise by. So you know what? I'm going to make that my lock. I am going to make that my lock. Hammer that in.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that. Central Michigan's they're a good team, and I feel like they're one of those teams that, not many people talk about. especially coming from Michigan, right? You have so many good teams from Michigan that they kind of get overlooked a lot. But I mean, like you said, Will, we saw last week, like I had Oklahoma State minus 21 or whatever it was as my lock for them to beat them. And they were up by 36 points in the game. And Central Michigan found a way to come back and make it a game and cover that spread. So I like them. I think they can put up a lot of points, and we'll see what happens. But I think they can definitely pull that one off.
Yeah, I also saw USC dropped to I think 7.5. I think it went from 9.5 to 7.5.
Wow.
I think I saw on FanDuel. So I don't know why the line dropped, or I have no clue, but I thought that was interesting. I think it went 9.5 to 8, and now it's 7.5.
What does Vegas know? What does Vegas know with this little California loving games over there? Because I don't know.
Stanford last week, they balled out. I know they played Colgate. I took them against Colgate, but they put up a ton of points against that Colgate team. So
yeah,
maybe Stanford's back. Maybe we'll see.
Stanford is also like it's kind of a tough environment to play in on the road. USC's defense kind of sucks. Like their offense, they'll never have a problem, but the defense, like even last week against Rice, like Rice sucks. But there were some moments where I was like, this defense sucks. So I feel like it might be closer than people think, but I still think USC will win. It's just that defense is not good.
Tell us how you really feel about their defense.
She's invested now. Now that USC chose Gracie, she's ride or die right now.
I've been on those message boards, and they're not happy about the defense. They're really upset. So I've just been reading them nonstop.
There's a special kind of fan that's like, a fan base is legit when they have people like just en masse ripping the team apart on private message boards.
Yeah.
That's the real good stuff of this sport.
It's just kind of old school too. I love it. Like that they all go on like this one blog and do live posting. It's so funny, but it's awesome.
I guess before we swing it over to game of the weeks, we'll go to our locks, and I will just I already dropped the one lock by accident for, I guess, FBS. Yeah, so my FCS lock, we're going to stay in Rhode Island. I don't know what the spread is yet, but give me the Bryant University Bulldogs over the Rams. I don't care. I don't care if it's 10 points, 100 points, give me the dogs. And they're going to be covering. So very, very impressive what they did against what was the Florida team last
FIU.
FIU. The overtime 2-point conversion, hats off for them to secure that win, FIU. But I was very, very impressed by the Bulldogs, and I'm ready for the Rhode Island Rams. So give me the spread, whatever it is. I'm going to put some units down handsomely.
Would you consider money line there too, or no?
Why not? I don't know if I'll have it on my card officially, but I will be playing money on it.
Wow.
Is there a name for this this rivalry? I mean, I feel like it's one that's like, it's probably the only inter Rhode Island college football matchup, right? I mean, there's got to be some sort of trophy for it, right?
So Brown had
Brown too.
The Ocean
Rhode
Cup.
Island. Rhode Island has just really boring in the sense that whatever team from Rhode Island plays another Rhode Island team, it's very simply called the Ocean State Cup.
Okay.
I think that's so dumb that there's not like they should have rivalry names, because realistically, like other than maybe, I don't know, lacrosse, there's not one universal sport that every Rhode Island team, like all 4 Division I Rhode Island schools, play each other in routinely. Like
basketball, but
like Providence doesn't have a baseball team. They don't. Yeah, basketball, I guess. But even still, like Providence is never going to play Brown or Bryant anymore, right?
I know.
Like Brown plays URI every year. Bryant plays Brown every year. Bryant plays URI every now and then, and Providence wants to play no one.
You guys should get like a commander, or I'm talking like you guys are like the presidents of the schools, but like they should get something going like a commander in chief's trophy. You know what I mean? That they've got like between like Army, Navy, Air Force, or you can everyone can schedule like the Coast Guard Academy for their first 3 weeks of the season. Whoever beats them down the hardest is like the Rhode Island champion or something, you know?
Someone can just maybe like, what should the trophy be? Like an awful or like an Olneyville hot wiener or something, like
Whatever it might be.
or a Dell's
Dell's lemonade can.
sponsorship for Dell's.
Let's go.
The
I
Dell's
love it.
Cup. Oh
The
man,
Dell's Cup.
we're on to something.
Oh, I love it.
I hope that idea doesn't get stolen because that's pretty cool.
Or trademarking on House Enterprise. But I did find one more lock that I am hammering so much money on. It's UTSA minus 2.5 over Army. They lost by 2 points against Houston, which is a ranked team. You're telling me they can't beat Army by 2 points? I'm putting the house on that. I am now heading onto a sports book right now and putting copious amounts of money on that because that 2.5 points, that's crazy low against Army.
And for the powers that be, he's doing it responsibly.
Very responsibly. Army lost to Coastal Carolina by 10 points.
Yeah.
Coastal's good though.
Coastal.
Gotta remember that.
But Houston's ranked. I'm
I
looking at transitive property right now.
I know. Hey, look, that's another reason why I'm taking Houston. They are, I think, ranked 25th this week. So if they lose to Texas Tech, forget it. They're dropping out. They're not having a ranking. So look, that's another reason why I'm taking them. We'll see.
Are we
All right.
are we going snake for locks here?
Yeah, we can go locks, snakes.
Cool. All right. I'll start with FCS. And I am going to take another team that actually had an upset over an FBS team, and that is Delaware. They just played Navy last week. They beat them 14-7. It was a defensive brawl. They're playing Delaware State this week. I think that's a real lock. Delaware has been trending upwards. Their program's in a really good spot. I think Delaware State, I'm not quite sure what the spread's going to be there because these FCS spreads are like non-existent until the day of. I'm going to take Delaware because that's a long-term bet. They're in the top 10 in the rankings now. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So a little bit of a sleeper lock this week. FBS lock. I'm getting redemption for this. West Virginia is going to win this week, and they are going to cover the spread. 13.5 points they are getting over Kansas. Now, Kansas stinks. They had a nice win last week, don't get me wrong, but they are so bad. 3-19 over the past 3 seasons. Well, 2 seasons plus this one game. But still, I mean, you saw what West Virginia is capable of. They went toe-to-toe with a Pitt team that I think is really good. CJ Donaldson, how about him? He's listed as a tight end for West Virginia. 6'2", 240. I think he rushed for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns the other day. That's scary. That's like he's bigger than LeGarrette Blount. That's some crazy stuff. And he's running all around. I think he's probably quicker than him too, which is just crazy. So I think West Virginia showed they have a lot of talent, and they're going against a team that is just not Pitt, right? Kansas is, I would venture to say, hot garbage this year. So I'm going to take West Virginia minus 13.5, and that's my lock of the week.
I don't hate it.
I think I'm out on JT Daniels long term, though. I think Tondo has a you were right moment. I
All last week,
hated everything I
all
saw.
last
from him.
week.
I mean, I'll just say this. Stetson Bennett is definitely better than JT Daniels. That is.
Stetson Bennett's going to win
yeah.
another natty at this rate.
Might win the Heisman, honestly.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And he's going to come play
I'm
for
not
the New
doing this.
York Football Giants. And we're going to win it. We're going to go back. We're going to be back. Daniel Jones out. Stetson Bennett in. I'm for it.
I
That
can't
is
do
a
this Stetson
sizzling
Bennett
hot take.
bullshit today.
If he wins another natty and a Heisman, oh, give me him. Give me him in the big blue.
Oh, man.
That would be pretty cool. I'm not even a Giants fan. I think that would be pretty cool.
Love to see it. All right, we'll swing it over. Who wants to go next for their locks?
I'll go. So my FBS lock, there's been some talk about this already. I'm going to take the Southern Cal Trojans over the Stanford Cardinals, -9. I got my hat. Fight on. I think USC, they're, like you guys said earlier, they could be a top 10, even top 5 team by the end of the year. This is Lincoln Riley's first road game in the Pac-12 going up to Stanford. I think they're going to be fired up. They're going to want to get a win. They're going to want to make it a statement win within the conference. So I'm going to take the Trojans -9 as my FBS lock for the week. FCS, little interesting. I'm going to take the Holy Cross Crusaders over Buffalo. Holy Cross. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I was looking at that too, but I didn't want to do it. I was too scared.
I think they're going to pull it off. I think they're going to win money line. I think they're going to beat Buffalo. Buffalo over last year, and then last week they've lost 5 in a row. And Holy Cross, obviously, they've been dominating the Patriot League for the last couple of years. They got a good win against Merrimack last week, so I'm going to take them. I'm going to take Holy Cross to go into Buffalo and to get that victory. Lock it in. There's a lot of silence. Someone tell me I am right or wrong, please.
Roll Satyrs.
I have not put much stock into Holy Cross, but I like the pick.
They're pretty fucking good. I
Yeah.
will say.
They're good.
I like the
Buffalo is pretty bad. So,
And we'll learn to get the scouting report done for when they come in, or actually Brian's going to play them in a few weeks. So
I always forget Khalil Mack went to Buffalo.
yeah.
SUNY
was
Buffalo. That's fucking
Imagine that.
SUNY Buffalo.
Like, imagine that you're on Holy Cross. You're like, yeah, I grew up in Worcester. Like, I walked on, or, now I even got a scholarship because I'm like a pretty good running back or something. And then you have to just go get pummeled by Khalil Mack at Buffalo. Oh,
Not fair.
Yeah, then go back to your dorm that's on like a 45-degree incline hill.
Yeah. Literally.
that's Holy Cross for you, though. It's just
Yeah.
the school on the hill in a city somehow. Crazy. Worcester's a wild place.
The
It's a
woo.
crazy
There's nothing
freaking
like
part
it.
of this country.
The woo. Dirty woo.
Dirty Woo, home of the Woo Sox.
That's right.
All right, Basil, what do you got for your locks?
So I actually did show
you
my
did?
hand earlier.
Yeah.
I gave mine pretty early on. I violated the sanctity of this show structure. So
That's fine.
just real quick. Florida -4.5 over Kentucky. Killing the Wildcats in the swamp, and Nova money line. And maybe if I could, got some variety, so I'm not repeating myself too much. Maybe even go Nova to win the CAA. I don't even know if they do FCS conference futures, but if there is one, I would throw some units on there. So that's what I got.
In the CAA.
That's it's a reigning champion, no?
Yeah, they are the reigning champs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
number 5 in the country. They really bolstered their defense with some good transfers. I think they can do it. I don't know. Maybe it's the new dawn of Philly college football.
Instead of Temple, huh?
Yeah, I mean, because we know Temple's not doing anything. I mean, they'll be back in the A10 in like 10 years or so.
All right, Gracie, what do you got for your locks?
Yeah, so no FCS lock for me. I literally don't know anything about those teams. But for FBS, I already said this, but I'm taking Fresno +1 against Oregon State. Right now it's actually a pick 'em, but I saw it as +1. So yeah, I know you guys are on the East Coast, but CBS Sports Network at night, 7:30 here. Electric. It is an electric factory. Once East Coast goes to bed, there's nothing better than watching these two teams on CBS Sports Network Saturday night. And Fresno's, they're not bad. Their quarterback, Jake Hayner, threw 36 out of 42, which is pretty insane. Last game they played Cal Poly, who sucks. But I like him. Threw for 377 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, Cal Poly kind of sucks, but he's solid. This is Fresno's home opener. And yeah, so I'm taking Fresno +1 against Oregon State. Oregon State's like kind of iffy, but I don't know much about Oregon State, if I'm being honest. But I do like Fresno State +1. And it's going to be an electric factory on CBS Sports Network.
We're getting started. I mean, now that we have a West Coast correspondent, I might have to start staying up for some late night games. I was struggling when the Yankees were on the West Coast watching
Yeah.
baseball at midnight, 1:00, and it always happens in college basketball too when I
Yeah.
have to tune in to see Bill Walton's shining face at 1:00 in the morning for Gonzaga to steamroll somebody. But now that we have someone based out there, I guess I'm going to have to pay a little bit more attention.
It's electric. Like 7:30, Hawaii's going on, CBS Sports Network. It's electric. Whatever like the conference is with like Idaho, that electric factory going on. Saturday
the Mountain
nights.
West?
Mountain West. Yeah, Mountain West, CBS Sports Network, like all of that. So fun.
Yeah, that's like those late games in Boise that you get. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Breezy's like, get the hell out of here with this FCS bullshit that you New Englanders do. Like, I don't care about Villanova.
You brought up Hawaii, though, and I'm surprised no one considered this as a pick. Is Michigan going to drop 60 points on them?
I think so, yeah.
I think they will.
I think they might put up 70 on them.
Like
That's what I think.
Like
Hawaii
I was considering teasing it to 70.
They're good, man. They're, like Michigan's got a real good shot at making it back to the college football playoff, I think.
Hawaii might be the worst team, I think. Out of all the teams, I think they're up there.
What's the spread now? Is it 51?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Don't call me crazy just going back to Michigan real quick, but they might be beating Ohio State again this year, too.
Wow. That's bold.
That'll be a great game.
I'm not ready for that yet.
Just saying. Just saying.
Damn.
I think I might actually add that into the card. Maybe a teaser to 70. Did I hear you say, Tondo?
I might. And you know me.
Maybe
you know
60.
I am so reluctant on the double-digit spreads when it's like past 25. I am very I hate it in college basketball, but they always do me wonders, and I don't like it in college football. When I saw someone today being like they might drop 70 points on them, I was considering it. Like a win.
They lost last week to Western Kentucky 49-17.
I was gonna go. Because I was there. I was in that island. I was literally thinking about going. I was like, no, I'm not gonna waste my night. Like they play in like a high school. They play in a borderline high school football stadium, and like I bet those high schools in Texas, like the big football, have a bigger stadium than that. And I mean, I think they're definitely up there. Also, like the game's at 5, so I think about the time difference. Like that's 11 in Hawaii. They're gonna be asleep. Like they're gonna be still sleeping. And Michigan they're gonna roll. I think it's gonna be like 70 to like maybe 3. Like that's my prediction. With that game, Hawaii I think is up there with the worst teams.
I mean, you look at their past couple weeks; they're getting outscored 112-27. Like
that's bad.
Vanderbilt.
I would take the Kansas Jayhawks over Hawaii.
Oh my God, I don't know. I think Kansas would probably take Hawaii and beat them by. I think they would also beat them by like 45 points.
Yeah.
If you take one of those like really good high schools, like in Southern California, like St. John Bosco or like one of those, like I think they could run with Hawaii for a little bit. Like I think it would be a close game.
All right, so Vanderbilt beat them 63-10.
Yeah.
That was an indicator for me. I'm like, what is going on?
And they also Vanderbilt like had 2 more minutes of possession than them. It wasn't like, oh, they just held on to the ball. It was just like score. Like,
you know what will be interesting too is if Michigan goes up big on them, because Michigan's been doing that dual quarterback type offense this year, where they have 2 quarterbacks that they're running. So like if the number 1 guy is going off on them, do they just put in that number 2? Like that's their number 2 guy, or do they just go right to the 3rd string? Like
I think they still have to do the number 2 guy. Like, and the gas is going to be on because they've got to prove something, you know?
Yeah,
I thought it'd get ugly.
I thought I was reading somewhere that they were going to start the number 2 guy in the game, but I don't know if that was confirmed. Like, I think JJ is the number 2 guy, and they were talking about starting him and letting him like roll the offense.
Yeah, they like Harbaugh has kind of just been like all over the place with it. Like he has said that they're gonna each start every other game. but then he'll like throw them in the middle of a game for a certain drive. So he's kind of just doing his own thing, but hey, it's working for him. So why not?
How many of us are on Florida -4.5? 4 of us?
Hammering that, honestly.
I think everybody's in, right?
Oh, everybody's on Florida?
Or maybe actually, I think Tondo's the one that just
I'm
didn't say it.
I'm adding it.
There you go.
Oh God, everybody's on it.
I'm
I guess
adding
that's
it.
their
to
house
the
lock of the week. I mean, that's quite literally we're 5 for 5.
Hopefully.
I like the unity though. I like when we
Strength in numbers.
You
right?
have to.
or if it's wrong, we all go down with the ship. So that's good
Yes, I like it.
All right, shall we head to the game of the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Game of the week.
It's Alabama, Texas. So this is a weird one. The spread right now is -20. And Alabama, the consensus won this week. Texas, decent football team at best, right? Where's the crew going with this, right? It's 20, but you could pick the spread. You could pick the outright winner. I think maybe the spread may be more entertaining given the conditions, but the floor is yours. Anyone feel passionately enough to start? Yeah, Basil. Raise your hand. Just go, man.
Sorry, I'm just used to press conferences and stuff. Getting ready for the season. I think it's a pretty straightforward matchup. That 20-point spread is a bit trickier than you think, but I think it's pretty clear how this game is going to go. Texas, exciting, athletic team, very similar to Florida, actually, I would say. They have really strong, agile skill players, and they're gonna make a couple great plays. Like they're gonna have like that long heave into the end zone. They're gonna get by Alabama's defense at one point or another with the rushing game. But Alabama hits hard and they do not stop. They put up 55 points last week, and it's not just because they played some crap school. They can do that against literally anybody, and it's just going to be Texas fighting to keep their head above water, and Alabama just piling it on too hard and too fast for them to handle. So if can I give my score, or are we going to go around?
Yeah, let's see. Definitely give the score if you've got one. Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, if the spread is still looking somewhere around 20 points, take it up to 23, 22.5. I'm going to go Alabama 42, Texas 24. That's as generous as I can be for the Longhorns.
And that's where I'm kind of stuck too. It's will Texas be able to score 20, or is 22 generous for Alabama's defense?
I think they'll just get there. They'll just get to 20. It'll be one of those things where they'll maybe get to 21, right by the end of the game. But by the time they do that, they're doing it to make it 21-42. You know what I mean? So it's not going to mean much, but it'll look good on your bet slip.
Yeah, I don't have an exact score, but I'm going to take Alabama -20. And I think the only way that they lose it is a garbage time cover. But again, I don't think Saban pulls the team if they're, if 20 points is even an option. I think the starters get pulled if it's a 35, 40-point lead.
Yeah, Saban's not really a garbage time guy, so it's
exactly.
I think Alabama is obviously going to put up so many points. I think there's been a lot of discussion about Georgia being the big dog in the SEC now. I think that's totally going to piss Nick Saban off. It's funny. They're going to Texas, and obviously Sark is the head coach of Texas, previously the offensive coordinator at Alabama the last couple of years under Nick Saban before he jumped over to Texas. If Texas were to make this a game or somehow beat Bama, all you would be hearing about is how he lost to Kirby Smart, who was a former assistant last year in the national championship, and that this was a game. And I don't think he's going to allow that to happen. I think he's going to keep his foot on the pedal the entire game. So I see Alabama putting up a ton of points, but I also will respect Sark, and I think his offenses can put up points. So I'm going to say Alabama does cover 20. I would hammer the over in this game. And I'm going to say for a final score, Alabama wins 55-31. So I do think Texas puts up some more points than you guys think, but I still think that Alabama gives them a good smacking.
Yeah, I'll jump in here as well. I think I'm a bit more on the side of Alabama running away with it. I think Sark has done a great job. I think he's the right guy to be in Austin for sure, especially given his history with Saban and elsewhere. But I don't know. There's something about this Alabama team, right? I look back and I think, wow, they're still really pissed off. Nick Saban and the way he addressed the media this week, they asked him about the whole horns down deal. Because I guess now the Big 12 has said if you do the horns down to a Texas player, you can get a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty. So that's fun. Somebody asked him about it. He goes, no, I have lots of he goes, no, I appreciate you letting me know, but we have lots of other things to address with the team right now, and that's not one of them. I'm like, whoa, all right. The seriousness in that Alabama locker room apparently is off the charts. They're pissed off, and they want to beat Georgia, right? That's what it's going to come down to. So I think Alabama's unrelenting these first few weeks. I think their foot's going to be on the gas pedal. My final score, Alabama 45, Texas 17. Lock it in.
Yeah, I mean, I'll chime in, but I said I was on the over. I'm on the over 64.5. I think I said this, but I think Bama could put up a 50 burger. Again, I don't think Texas is bad, but just the gap between the two is so big that it's going to be a blowout. And my score is 47-21. Well, you guys were talking about garbage time. Like, I genuinely can't remember if garbage time happens in Alabama games. Like, I don't remember if that's a thing. And I'm trying to remember from last year. I don't think it is. And so I think 47-21. I think the crowd will be really into it. Texas will score once from, keep the crowd in it. But I do think Bama will pull away probably in the second quarter. So I'm going 47-21. And I don't think Texas is fully back. I think they're half back. But yeah, so I'm going 47-21.
The general consensus. I think this is a Roll Tide podcast. Roll Tide podcast.
Absolutely.
So now we head to our trophy case game. Is that what we're calling this one?
Yep. Trophy game of the week.
We'll throw the video.
I don't think we can see anything.
Oh, you can't see?
No.
Damn.
Can you give it share?
That was a mood killer. Let's try that again. I'm just watching this video in by myself.
Well, it sounds hype.
Oh, it definitely did.
Let's see. Well, I can't figure that out right now, but it's Iowa State. I'll allow someone to kick it off while I try to figure this video out, or we'll just go right into it. So
I actually
you
write up a little
on
preview.
This, you got some notes. Go for it.
Yeah. I got some notes. So if you can maybe lay down a hype beat under me this preview. So yeah, honestly, the Midwest is. I mean, it's the biggest no shit that Midwest football rivalries are unmatched. Probably the only thing that can challenge them and frequently does is SEC rivalries. So that being said, I do think Iowa State amidst, Ohio State, Michigan, Northwestern Illinois, it's one of the better Midwest rivalries. So this is called the Cy Hawk Trophy. It's the only, as far as I've done my research, the Army Navy game has a sponsorship, but it's the only rivalry trophy with a sponsorship, and it's sponsored by the Iowa Corn Growers Association. So its full name is the Iowa Corn Cyhawk Trophy, if that is not epic enough. Been played since 1894, excuse me. And so, it's been pretty dominated by Iowa, the Hawkeyes. But because considering, most of these games have been, in their home stadium, and it's a loud home stadium. But last year, a very interesting storyline going into this year's game. Brock Purdy of Iowa State, got pulled late in the game and got pulled for Hunter Deckers, who, was an up-and-coming quarterback at the time at Iowa State. And now this year for the Cyclones, he's QB1. And last year in Iowa, he was 11 for 16 for 116 yards and a touchdown, all in like the last quarter or so of play. So while I do think it's still going to be close, look for him to, keep challenging Iowa's defense. That being said, for my pick, I'm going to go Iowa to win their 7th game in a row and take them -3.5. If it was closer to a touchdown, I would go Cyclones because I think Deckers is going to have an interesting performance, which will probably lead into them taking it next year, into state taking it next year. But this year, I think the Hawkeyes just got one more go at it, at extending their streak. So Iowa to win, Iowa -3.5.
I'm going to go against that.
All right.
I think Iowa, obviously, they have a great head coach in Kirk Ferentz. He has shown over the years that he knows how to lead that program. But I like Iowa State this year. For some reason, I think they're going to go into Iowa and they're going to win the trophy this year. Matt Campbell, their head coach, also a great coach. He's really turned that program around the last few years. They've produced some good NFL talent, like in the past couple of years. So I like Iowa State. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll come down to the wire, kind of like the backyard brawl did last week. But I'm going to take Iowa State to win that game against Iowa.
I'm right with you there, Cole. I think go ahead, Tondo.
No. I was going to say that's exactly what I have.
Yeah.
Close game. Iowa State spread money line. I think they take it home. I'm also, again, I'm the worst with recency bias, but a game like that last week for Iowa, I don't know.
And Iowa State balled out last week too.
Exactly. So take that as with you will. I like Iowa State on this one, but you never know what happens in the cornfield.
That's a very good point. I'm with I-State here. I like I just like their win was and again, right? Are we going to put too much stock into a win over SEMO, like Southeastern Missouri? Probably not. But 42-10, they controlled the whole game. I don't know. This momentum's sort of sticking with me here. Riding the wave of good Iowa State football. Matt Campbell, people forget. There's a rumor that he was offered a deal by the Lions to be their head coach. Lions say it wasn't true. I don't believe it. I think that probably had some merit to it. Or it could have been a reporter that just thought it was that got him confused with Dan Campbell, who ended up being the head coach. So I'm taking Iowa State here. That leaves you, Gracie.
Yeah, I don't have an official play on these games. I'm wondering what you guys think about these team totals. I'm looking right now at on FanDuel, and right now the Iowa team total is 21.5, and the Iowa State total is 17.5. So I'm wondering what you guys think. I might add one of these to my card. I kind of like the Iowa State under, but I'd love to hear what you guys think about these team totals.
I was looking into the Iowa State under, like, in my research, I was thinking that, while I do think Iowa was going to take this, I honestly would say it'd be like a 13-10 win. It's going to be like a scrappy, like kind of old timey looking game. Cause like you guys said, I mean, that game against South Dakota State last week, yeah, they only scored 7 points, but they held South Dakota State, one of the best teams in FCS, to just 3 points. And I know, FBS is leagues ahead of the FCS, but when it's the top two teams, those lines get really blurry. So for that defense to do that, I think it's going to be really tough, especially for this young quarterback, Hunter Dekers. And it's just rookie quarterbacks do not have a good track record in Iowa. So that's the biggest factor to me.
Interesting.
So
Yeah,
I would
right.
honestly take the unders all around. Team, like individual teams, game total, unders all around.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game as well. I don't think you're going to see a blowout at all.
Yeah, I might take the Iowa State team total under 17.5 or 8. What was it? 17.5, 18.5, 17.5. We'll see. What do you guys think? Like the crowd is? Do you think it's like split? Do they travel to Iowa?
Ooh. I feel like they have to, right?
Yeah.
It'll be more Iowa people, but I think Iowa State will have a big presence there.
Yeah, Iowa's usually got a strong foothold whoever they play, just because the home field advantage is pretty big. It's they have the Hawkeye wave, where they wave the kids in the hospitals in the end of the first quarter, and that draws a lot of Hawkeye fans out. But I mean, if you're a Cyclones fan and you're not going to that game, what are you doing?
Yeah. What game are you going to?
That's the thing.
This is also like last year, last year's Cy-Hawk Trophy was pretty much like a play-in game to stay in the early college football playoff conversation, right? Because I mean, I was cracking the top 4 at that point. Iowa State was in the top 10, and while neither of those two teams are ranked right now, I think that hype is still lingering. People I know who have gone to Iowa State are still very excited for this team and what it could be. They're not expecting much this year, obviously. So if anything, like if they're going to win any trophy, like either of these teams, like this is the one to win, aside from the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl or something like that. Shout out Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
All right. So unless anyone else has any closing picks, closing arguments, we got our trophy case, we got our rivalry, we got our game of the week, we got our picks. The floor is yours, and let's bring some winners back.
Roll Tide and go Mountaineers. That's all.
Fight on.
Fight on, baby. Let's go.
Fight on.
Go Fordham too.
Yeah,
Good
go
win for
Rams.
Fordham.
And Bryant. Let's go Dogs.
Let's smoke Monmouth this weekend.
Why not the Bryant Bulldogs? Why not
us? You know?
Why not? Why not? All right. Well, that's the Football House crew. Join us next week. Follow along the Twitter at Bet the Houses and House Enterprise, of course. You'll be seeing the picks all weekend long, and we'll catch you next week.
Till next week.